Hi everybody, welcome to week 3 of seminar 2. Nice to see you again. Glad you're back. All right, so the next 2 weeks we're going to be really focusing on technology within education and the wide varieties of technology available. And I really want you to kind of stretch yourself to try to examine some different types of technologies out there. There's so much. So we've got, of course, our basic PowerPoints. For me, when I'm teaching specifically undergrad, I actually like to use a lot of video clip. And one way that I really like to do that is trying to get at the affective domain. And an example, I was teaching about infectious diseases, HIV/AIDS, and a lot of different things during a particular class period. And I found 2 videos from people who have AIDS. The first one was from a gentleman who has had AIDS for years and years and years, and talked about what it was like in the beginning and kind of how people aren't taking it as seriously these days and that sort of thing. And then I have another clip from a gentleman who was fairly newly diagnosed and about how he's dealing with it as a chronic disease, getting used to taking all the meds. And it's really interesting showing patients' response to actually living with some of these conditions. And that's one way where we can sometimes deal with that affective domain. What's it like to be in that person's shoes? I do like polling technologies. I've used the physical clickers that you use in the classroom. I've used some phone apps that can have polling on them. I, of course, love simulation, everything about simulation. I love high-tech mannequins. I love moulage, which is creating different things. One time I was working with a lab director, and we came up with, I was having students having trouble visualizing cirrus sanguinarius, no, that's not right. Yeah, cirrus sanguinus, and purulent drainage, and understanding them. And we actually figured out ways to come up with things that would look like those. Anyway, love simulation. And then we're doing more and more online testing, whether that is a standardized test like the HESI or ATI, or whether that's an instructor-created test that's done online. That creates a whole bunch of new challenges. What technology is available to you? What kind of precautions do you have to take when doing online testing? All sorts of different things. For instance, there's a couple different universities that I know of in their bachelor program. They have students take tests in their home, right? So the tests are timed, and also the students have a webcam, and they have to record themselves taking the test. So a lot of different things to think about when we're dealing with technology and students. Okay, one thing I want to bring up, social media. Social media is huge. There's a few things with social media. For instance, on my personal accounts, I will not be friends with students until after they've graduated. That's kind of what I set up as my boundary. Some people like to set up, for instance, Facebook accounts for a particular class or clinical group or something, and then you have to be sure people have a Facebook account and that sort of thing. And you have to have goals of what you're going to use it, and most colleges and universities and hospitals and healthcare organizations have very particular guidelines about what you can and can't do. I did once have a student who ended up being expelled from the program. She was in a delivery, took some pictures, had shared them with friends, ended up on social media, definitely violating HIPAA. That's just one of the things, and ended up actually being expelled from the program. So anyway, so there's a lot of things we have to think about with social media. All right, let's look at this week. DQ1. One type of technology and how it is changing learning. And that technology that you discuss in DQ1, DQ2, you you can use that for your assignment. You can use that same technology. It's up to you since you're going to be researching it anyway. DQ2, one technology and how the use of it will differ with different types of students. And this can be in academia, in the clinical setting, whatever you'd like, but maybe with different types of students. And what are all the different characteristics of students, right? Language, gender, culture, CNA, RN, LPN, whatever. So how will the use of that technology differ with different types of students? So we've got some good DQs there. And really try to think outside the box with technology if you can. Try not to use something that you've used continually or had used continually in your education program. There's a bunch of stuff out there. Then your assignment. So again, you're going to be dealing with one technology with the assignment. You're going to be describing and analyzing it. There's a really good description and there's a really good rubric. I just want to point out a couple things. Minimum of 3 scholarly references. That means peer review, not a blog, not just some person's website. So really peer-reviewed articles, research articles, descriptive articles, that sort of thing. Let's see. You will be addressing both the pros and cons of your technology, so know that. And there is a part in the rubric that says when you're going to use this technology, how is this going to relate to professional competencies? So how can it be used to teach, enhance, improve professional competencies? So depending on if you're talking about using it with students or staff, you can discuss those. So I would really carefully look at the rubric. Make sure that you've really gone down that list and checked off everything, because that's how I can give you points, right? Okay. All right, so a lot of stuff happening. Oh, some people have asked me, the assignment that you're doing now for week 3, you're going to be posting that for the first DQ in week 4. I think there was some confusion about that. And then you're going to be responding to different class members' posts when they post that in week 4. Okay, so much to talk about this week. Really interesting stuff. Can't wait to see what you come up with as far as technologies, and I'll chime in. Just to let you know, I am leaving tomorrow morning to go out of town. We're going to Wisconsin for a week to visit relatives. I can't wait to see them. I only get to see them like maybe once or twice a year, so it'll be fun. I will still be online. You'll notice very little difference. Even if I'm not posting on a particular day, I will still be checking the individual and questions to the instructor forum. So, go ahead, feel free, ask your questions. I'll get back to you within a day. All right, guys, good luck with week 3, and I'll see you in the main forum.